A very good morning. It's just past 8 this Friday, March 13th morning, and we're back again with another edition of Breakfast Show. Over the next 60 minutes, we'll get you the latest from the world of politics, business, sports, entertainment, not only from India but across the globe. I am Anil Thomas. With me, Rukma Datta this morning. Good morning, Rukma.
A very good morning to you, Anil, as well. And as Anil just told you, news from across India and the world as 114 countries face the brunt of the coronavirus attack. Italy among the worst affected after China. Indian government further steps up efforts to deal with any eventuality. News also making headlines in the world of sports and business will be covered in full. But first, here are the headlines.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi appeals to countrymen to say no to panic and yes to precaution, assures that government is making all efforts to prevent the spread of coronavirus, holds telephonic conversation with his British and Israeli counterparts.
In Karnataka, a 76-year-old man who was ill for past few days dies in Kalburgi. Authorities say he had travelled to Saudi Arabia and tested positive for COVID-19 but did not take the prescribed treatment.
Efforts intensify to help Indians struck in corona-affected countries Iran and Italy. A flight will return today, bringing another batch of citizens from Iran. Team of doctors to reach Italy today to help Indians cope up with the crisis.
Home Minister Amit Shah replies to debate on Delhi violence in the Rajya Sabha, says none involved in the riots will be spared. Also assures nobody will be put in doubtful category in the NPR exercise.
Lok Sabha works past midnight to discuss the grants for Railway Ministry. Piyush Goyal, Union Railway Minister, to reply today.
In international news, amid reports of escalation in coronavirus cases worldwide, several countries declare extraordinary measures. Wife of Canadian PM tests positive.
And in sports, star badminton player PV Sindhu storms into the quarterfinals of the All England Badminton Championship by beating a Korean rival in straight sets. In men's section, India's Lakshya Sen crashes out. Well, those were the headlines, and now for the stories in detail, starting first up with news about COVID-19.
With the total case count of COVID-19 cases crossing 70 in India, Prime Minister Modi has urged people to say no to panic and yes to precaution. He has also asked to avoid non-essential travel and large gatherings. The government is leaving no stone unturned to tackle the situation arising out of the pandemic. Taking to Twitter, the Prime Minister said the government is fully vigilant about the situation due to COVID-19 novel coronavirus. He added, across ministries and states, multiple steps have been proactively taken to ensure safety of all. A high-level group of ministers has been monitoring the situation on a regular basis and reporting to the Prime Minister. Efforts have been intensified to help Indians stuck in corona-affected countries, Iran and Italy. A flight will return today, bringing another batch of citizens from Iran. A team of health professionals has been sent to Iran to set up testing facilities there for Indians. The government has been testing evacuees as per protocol before bringing them back. Meanwhile, the Delhi government has also ordered all schools and colleges where exams are over to be shut down, as also cinema halls till the 31st of March.
Government of India, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, leaving no stone unturned to tackle the situation arising out of the pandemic COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to Twitter. He said, the government is fully vigilant about the situation due to COVID-19 novel coronavirus. Across ministries and states, multiple steps have been proactively taken to ensure safety of all. These steps are wide-ranging, from suspension of visas to augmenting healthcare capacities. He urged people to say no to panic and say yes to precautions, adding that no minister of the central government will travel abroad in the upcoming days. Prime Minister urged all countrymen to also avoid non-essential travel. He said we can break the chain of spread and ensure safety of all by avoiding large gatherings. External Affairs Minister apprised the Lok Sabha of the action taken to assist Indians abroad. He said around 6,000 Indians are stranded in Iran, including 1,100 pilgrims from Maharashtra and Jammu and Kashmir. There are also around 300 students there.
The House will surely appreciate that few other nations have done what we have with respect to end COVID-19. The global coronavirus situation is being monitored on a continuous basis by a group of secretaries headed by Cabinet Secretary and by a group of ministers headed by the Minister of Health and Family Welfare. Government has made focused efforts for the safe return of stranded Indians, given the scale of end COVID-19 and its pressures on Iran's own resources.
The minister also informed that there are 1,000 Indian fishermen who are stranded in Iran, but they are in the region which is not affected by the virus. He said a team of health professionals has been sent to Iran to set up testing facilities there for Indians. Talking about Italy, Jaishankar said those tested negative will be allowed to return. So far, 948 persons, of whom 900 are Indians and 48 from other nationalities, have been evacuated. Union Health Minister also addressed apprehensions of MPs in Lok Sabha. He said steps are being taken to track people who are affected and appealed to members of parliament.
Things are under control. We need your cooperation. और हम ये भी चाहते हैं कि आप सबकी मदद से आपके क्षेत्रों में जहाँ कहीं भी गैदरिंग्स वगैरह हो रही हैं उनको आप अगर डिस्करेज करेंगे, अपना एक लाउड एंड क्लियर मैसेज आप देंगे, सिर्फ अपने क्षेत्रों में लोगों को अच्छी तरह से एजुकेट करने का मूवमेंट क्रिएट करना है.
Talking of states, Health Department of Andhra Pradesh has confirmed the first positive case in the state. The individual has a recent travel history to Italy. 5 of his contacts have been quarantined as per protocol. The Karnataka Health Department also confirmed that a 26-year-old man who returned from Greece has tested positive for coronavirus, making it the 5th case in the state. Delhi government has declared COVID-19 as an epidemic and has announced that all cinema halls will remain shut in Delhi till the 31st of March. Schools and colleges where exams are not being held will also remain closed.
आज इसको एपिडेमिक डिक्लेयर किया जा रहा है दिल्ली के अंदर कोरोना को. जितने सरकारी दफ्तर हैं, जितने प्राइवेट दफ्तर हैं, जितने मॉल्स हैं, शॉप्स हैं, सभी के लिए ये कंपलसरी किया जा रहा है कि डेली आप अपने पब्लिक प्लेस को डिसइंफेक्ट करेंगे.
Haryana has also declared COVID-19 as an epidemic. Health Minister of Uttar Pradesh confirmed the first positive case in Lucknow, which takes the count in the state to a total of 11. In Aligarh, Jawahar Medical College has been designated as a hub to detect cases of COVID-19.
एक लेटेस्ट आपका गोमती नगर के हैं जो कनाडा से कोई महिला डॉक्टर आई थी और वो पॉजिटिव टेस्ट किए, उनके हस्बैंड को आइसोलेशन में रखा गया, उनके सैंपल लिए गए.
हमारे पास एक PRDL प्रोजेक्ट है वायरस डिटेक्शन के लिए, वो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का प्रोजेक्ट है. इन्होंने हमको ऑथराइज कर दिया है फॉर डूइंग द टेस्ट फॉर कोरोना वायरस.
Several states, including Jammu and Kashmir, have closed educational institutions as a precaution. Kashmir University on Thursday announced suspension of all classes for the rest of March as a precautionary measure to prevent the spread of novel coronavirus disease. Meanwhile, the borders with Myanmar and Manipur have been closed as a precautionary measure. IPL will hold its governing council meeting on the 14th of March over coronavirus situation. Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju has indicated that the Health Ministry's advisory is under consideration before a decision on holding of IPL matches is concerned.
IPL हो कोई भी हो, जब देश में कोई इस तरह का गाइडलाइंस जारी है तो उसको मेंटेन करना चाहिए. और जो हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री ने जो गाइडलाइन दिया है वो सब पे लागू है. कोई भी टूर्नामेंट जब ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं या कोई भी स्पोर्टिंग इवेंट ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं तो इस चीज़ को ध्यान रखा जाए कि हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री का गाइडलाइन को फॉलो करें अच्छी तरह से.
However, the Supreme Court on Thursday refused to accord urgent hearing on a petition seeking postponement of the Indian Premier League 2020 amid the coronavirus scare. A vacation bench of Justices U. Lalit and Aniruddha Bose told the petitioner that he could mention the matter for urgent listing before the regular bench on the 16th of March, when the Apex Court will reopen after the holy break. With Parliament team and Nitendra Singh, DD India.
An Air India flight will evacuate approximately 120 Indians from Iran and will be landing at Jaisalmer today. On arrival, all will be quarantined at an Indian Army facility which has been created under the Southern Command. The patients will be transferred from the airport post where their initial screening will be done. Another batch of approximately 250 people will be evacuated from Iran on March 15th and will also land and be quarantined at the Army facility at Jaisalmer. The Army has also created quarantine facilities at Jodhpur and a number of other locations to assist the civil administration in their fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
With novel coronavirus being declared a global pandemic by the World Health Organization and the number of confirmed cases worldwide reaching 118,000 in as many as 114 countries across the world, the Union Health Ministry reviewed its preparedness. Addressing a press conference in New Delhi, the Health Ministry listed the steps taken by the government to tackle the coronavirus threat under the supervision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
This was possible due to the situation being constantly monitored and reviewed at the highest political and administrative level led by the Honorable Prime Minister. Our response was initiated since 8 January, much before WHO declared COVID-19 as a public health emergency on 30th of January 2020. States were directed for public health sector preparedness on 17 January 2020. Same day, point of entry surveillance was also initiated. Screening at airports was started on 17 January at 3 airports, that is Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata, which was extended to 4 more airports, which includes Chennai, Cochin, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, on 21st of January 2020 and subsequently extended to 30 airports. All incoming passengers are being universally screened at the 30 international airports. Similarly, screening was also initiated for vessels arriving at 12 major ports and 65 non-major ports. Measures have been taken by central ministries along with states and union territories in terms of strengthened community surveillance, quarantine facilities, isolation wards, adequate personal protection equipments, trained manpower, rapid response team for management of COVID-19.
Joint Secretary in the Union Health Ministry, Love Agarwal, said that on the directions of the Prime Minister, a high-level group of ministers was constituted to continuously monitor the situation and evaluate preparedness while formulating measures regarding the management of COVID-19 in the country.
On the directions of Honorable Prime Minister, a high-level group of ministers was also constituted to constantly monitor the situation and evaluate preparedness and formulate measures regarding management of COVID-19 in the country. The group of ministers has met 6 times so far, guiding, reviewing and monitoring the situation. On recommendation of this group of ministers, several advisories were issued, including those on restricting travel to control the import of COVID-19 from other affected countries, self-quarantine measures and suspension of visas. 2 meetings of the group of ministers were held yesterday itself. The group of ministers deliberated on various precautionary measures which may be considered in the interest of the citizens of India. Based on the recommendations of the Committee of Secretaries headed by Cabinet Secretary, the group of ministers made some important decisions last evening.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a telephone call from the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, on Thursday. The two leaders expressed their desire to further strengthen the India-UK strategic partnership in the new decade. They agreed that it would be useful to formulate a comprehensive roadmap towards this objective. The two Prime Ministers exchanged views on the COVID-19 epidemic. Prime Minister Modi expressed concern on UK Health Minister testing positive for coronavirus and wished her a speedy recovery. The leaders expressed their satisfaction at the cooperation between India and United Kingdom in the field of climate change, especially with reference to the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also received a telephone call from the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, on Wednesday. The leaders reviewed the excellent progress in bilateral relations. They also exchanged views on the global situation in the context of COVID-19 pandemic.
In an urgent measure over the spread of the deadly coronavirus, the Ministry of External Affairs has appointed a point person at the level of additional secretary to streamline the international as well as domestic efforts of the government to address the rising challenges. Dammu Ravi has been appointed as the additional secretary to coordinate measures taken by the ministry regarding COVID-19 and handling it at the global level. Briefing media, Dammu Ravi said no minister of the central government will travel abroad in the upcoming days. He also urged the countrymen to stay put where they are and travel only when absolutely essential.
You don't have a defined criteria for that, but I think we will leave it to the our ambassadors and the HOMs in the missions to ascertain for themselves as to what is that essentiality is or the compelling reason. So I think the guidelines clearly said it's a compelling reason that would be decided by maybe the respective missions to say, maybe for example, health reasons, there is a sickness in the family, someone wants to come, or there's a wedding. So that I think we would like to leave it to the missions to decide what that constitutes. I think we'll leave it in a broad sense.
The additional secretary also said that the impact of coronavirus on the economic front is short term and the government is taking several measures to deal with its magnitude.
I think, you must also very clear, what we are aiming at. The life is more important at this point of time. So the economic cost, yes, an issue of this magnitude, of this expanse that you're dealing with, there will be definitely costs. But how much we assess, I think this is not at this point of time relevant to talk about. There will be costs, but that's something which we have to deal subsequently. And we are not envisaging the situation that will be forever. So this will be a short-term measure.
And the Indian Embassy in the United States has set up a 24-hour helpline to address questions on the recent travel restrictions implemented by New Delhi in a bid to contain the spread of novel coronavirus. The embassy has stated that to respond to queries and provide clarifications with regard to the travel advisory on travel to India issued by the Government of India, a 24/7 helpline has been set up by the Indian Embassy in Washington, D.C. The two helpline numbers are 202-213-1364 and 202-262-0375. People can also reach out to the Embassy of cons4.washington@mea.gov.in. The suspension came into effect from 1200 GMT on March 13th at the port of departure. All existing visas except diplomatic, official, UN or international organizations, employment and project visas stand suspended till the 15th of April 2020. Visa-free travel facility granted to overseas citizenship of India card holders has also been kept in abeyance till April 15th. All incoming travelers, including Indian nationals arriving from or having visited China, Italy, Iran, Republic of Korea, France, Spain and Germany after February 15th will be quarantined for a minimum period of 14 days.
The death of a 76-year-old male from Karnataka is confirmed due to comorbidity and also tested positive for COVID-19. The man had visited Saudi Arabia from the 29th of January to the 29th of February this year. The man has a medical history of hypertension and asthma. While he was asymptomatic on his return, he developed symptoms of fever and cough on 6th of March. One private doctor visited him at his residence and treated him there. The patient was admitted in a private hospital in Hyderabad and treated there. Later, he was discharged, and while he was being brought back, he died on the way to the Gulbarga Institute of Medical Science, Kalburgi, on the 10th of March this year. Meanwhile, all the precautionary measures as per protocol, such as the screening and home quarantine of the contacts, have been initiated by the District Health and Family Welfare Department of Karnataka and are being monitored continuously. Meanwhile, 74 confirmed cases of COVID-19 across India have been reported to date.
And let's now take a look at these figures to know about these statements, to know about the do's and don'ts. The do's include frequent washing of hands, covering the face while coughing and sneezing, throwing used tissues in the waste bin, seeing the doctor if you are feeling unwell, avoid participating in large gatherings, and last but not the least, contact the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare if you are experiencing cough, fever or problems in breathing. The don'ts include close contact with persons experiencing cough and fever, touching of the nose, mouth and eyes, and spitting in public.
The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has issued a helpline number for any health-related inquiry. The helpline number is 011-239-78046. I repeat, 011-239-78046. You can also email your query at ncov2019@gmail.com. Well, for more on that story with regards to coronavirus, our correspondent Abhishek Shah joining us this morning. Abhishek, give us a sense of the people returning today from various countries, especially returning to India. Indians stranded abroad, they are coming back. One lot is expected today to come. The next lot of people coming on the 15th of March. Give us a sense, when do we see the people arriving there in India?
Anil, India is taking all the evacuationary measures for various places in the world where Indians are stranded, in Italy, in Iran, in China. We have seen there were 3 flights, 2 by Air India and 1 by Indian Air Force, which evacuated almost 600 Indians, including few persons from other nationalities of neighboring countries. As of now, 1 flight is expected to land today in Jaisalmer with 100 odd Indians. And they all will be quarantined there at the Indian Army facility in Jaisalmer for 14 days. The next flight is expected on 14th and 15th, and they're expected to land in Jaisalmer only. The thing is that across the country, India has established few centers run by Army, where these cases of incoming passengers from abroad will be quarantined and treated for COVID cases, because all these people who are coming from abroad need to be separated from the larger population until and unless they are found negative, 100% negative with coronavirus cases. So government is taking all the precautionary measures. 1 flight from Italy had also landed, and all the passengers on board were quarantined at Manesar facility, and they are all being tested, and they are in the process of being tested if they have any symptoms or if they have developed COVID during the course of stay in Italy.
Right, Abhishek. Well, talking about the steps that are being taken, the MEA also taking various steps in order to streamline processes related to evacuation, related to the safety of Indian citizens, teams of doctors also to be sent abroad to the worst affected countries.
Rukmasi, the situation is getting grimmer by each passing day worldwide. However, as US President Donald Trump also said, India stays ahead of the curve. With a population of 1.3 billion people and exposure to global market and global economy and traveling to whole of the world, India has still maintained a very amazing record of not being infected and stopping the contagiousness of this virus. But we cannot be relaxed, and that is why MEA has established a couple of days ago a very dedicated nodal officer of the rank of Additional Secretary Namuravi, and he will be coordinating all the efforts from across the globe where Indians are stranded. What are the needs they have? What are the aid they need to be extended? Whether medical need is there, whether they have some general queries, some documentation process. So every queries, every grievances are directed to one person who is trying to ensure that everything stays smooth over the days, because the panic is all around the world, and everybody who wants to come to India is desperate, and they need to be taken well care of, and Indian missions abroad are all trying to do that.
Okay, we listened to the external affairs point person there, Damu Ravi, clearly giving the do's and don'ts. But having said that, are there different rules for people, foreigners coming to India, and also Indians abroad coming back home?
Okay, so the first thing that Indian government has said to the people that stay wherever you are.
Okay.
So in case you can stay, you can extend your stay. So try to stay wherever you are, because the evacuation processes should be meaningful only when there is a desperation or there is some legal process. Maybe your visa is expiring in the couple of days and you can't stay in that country of the state. So such cases, Indian government is taking care of. But if there are students who are studying in abroad, and if they are getting panicked and they want to come back home, so they can very well stay there. And so many such cases. So government has advised them to stay wherever they are. But in case they need some necessary arrangement to be brought back home, government is doing that also. But for that, they need to fill up some documents. First is that they have been tested negative for COVID, because at this point of time, government wants to take no chance, because this whole population might get infected with just one case of laxity. If we show laxity that somebody has been given some exemption and he comes back to home with some COVID symptoms and develop COVID, so he might infect few more person, and this cascading effect will lead further in other people also. So no person with positive COVID test is being allowed to enter India. For foreign nationals, all the visas starting from today have been cancelled, and there will be no person of foreign nationality who can enter India for the next 1 month at least. There have been few exceptions which have been granted, like UN employees, some international organizations, some officials, some project officers. So otherwise, there is very much a blanket ban on people coming to India.
We leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us. No to panic, yes to precaution is what needs to be followed at this hour. We also got Nitendra Singh, our health correspondent, tracking that story for us from an Indian perspective. Nitendra, good morning. Nitendra, the official numbers stand at 74. We've got one confirmed case of death that's taken place in Karnataka. Overnight, is there been an increase in the number of positive cases that are detected?
देखिए, जो कंफर्म केस की बात कर रहे हैं तो बहुत स्पष्ट तौर पे नहीं कहा जा सकता कि उनकी जो मौत हुई है वो कोविड-19 के कारण हुई, क्योंकि जो स्वास्थ्य के हेल्थ से रिलेटेड उनकी दूसरी बहुत सारी समस्याएं थी, जैसे हाइपरटेंशन और अस्थमा से जुड़ी भी समस्याएं थी, और उन्होंने डॉक्टर के एडवाइस के खिलाफ जाकर के एक अस्पताल से दूसरे अस्पताल तक जाते रहे, तो इस वजह से उनकी डेथ हुई। और उसके बाद में जो उनके सैंपल भेजे गए थे और बाद में रिपोर्ट कोविड-19 का पॉजिटिव आया था, तो बहुत पक्के तौर पे नहीं कहा जा सकता कि उसी से डेथ हुई है। दूसरी सबसे बड़ी बात है जो आपने कहा कि केस बढ़ रहे हैं। केस इसलिए भी बढ़ रहे हैं क्योंकि ट्रैकिंग सिस्टम बहुत स्ट्रांग हो गई है, क्योंकि जितने भी लोग संक्रमित देशों से आए हुए हैं उनकी ट्रैकिंग सरकार कर रही है। ऐसे 30,000 से ज्यादा लोग हैं जिनको निगरानी में रखा गया है, और चूंकि इनक्यूबेशन पीरियड बार बार हम लोगों से बता रहे कि 14 दिनों का है, और उनकी जो ट्रैवल हिस्ट्री के बाद 14 दिन बाद जो कुछ लोगों को सिम्टम डेवलप हो रहे हैं और सरकार उन पे नजर रखे हुए, तो ऐसे में केसेस बढ़ रहे हैं। और ये अच्छी बात यह है कि सरकार उनकी पहचान कर रही है। पहचान के अलावा उनको आइसोलेट करके रखा गया है। आइसोलेट करने के बाद उनको होम क्वारंटाइन में कुछ लोग हैं और कुछ लोगों को अस्पताल में रखा गया है, और उनकी सेहत धीरे धीरे ठीक हो रही है, स्टेबल है, ये सरकार की तरफ से कल भी बताया गया था। और निश्चित तौर पे बाकी जो और भी कदम सरकार की तरफ से उठाए जाने हैं वो भी उठाए जा रहे हैं। लोगों से बार बार सरकार की तरफ से ये अपील है कि आप अपने पर्सनल हाइजीन को बनाए रखें, हैंड वॉश फ्रिक्वेंटली करते रहें, अपने चेहरे को न छुएं जब तक कि कोई बाहर से आ रहे हैं, तो जब तक हैंड वॉश ना करते हैं। तो ये जो सबसे कॉमन बात है अनिल, इसको ध्यान में रखना होगा, और जितना आप पर्सनल हाइजीन बनाए रखेंगे और जितना अवेयर रहेंगे उतनी इस बीमारी से दूर रहेंगे।
Right, Nitendra, thank you very much for joining us there and for those inputs. And we now go across to our correspondent Vishal Baristo, who joins us from Jaipur. Vishal, well, the Air India flight expected to land today with 120 Indians from Iran. What kind of preparations have been made for their arrival and for, quarantining them at the Indian Army facility created under the Southern Command? Also, we'd like to know if there are any special advisories, any special measures being taken, because, considering how Rajasthan is very popular with tourists at this time, in the context of coronavirus.
Well, a very good morning to you, Anil and Rukma. Yes, Rajasthan is very important as far as tourism is concerned. Now, before I answer your question, let me tell you that yesterday, the Rajasthan Tourism Development Corporation decided to suspend 7 tours of the Palace on Wheels. Now, this is a very popular train which goes to the Golden Triangle, covers Delhi and Agra as well. 140 people had done their booking, out of which 60% were Americans. So it's a big blow to the Rajasthan tourism. And now coming back to a question about the flight from Iran, Indian Army is taking all precautions and all measures because they have been giving the charge to take care of these patients. And let me tell you that 365 samples were sent, out of which 357 have turned out to be negative. 5 are still expecting results, while 3 are continue to be positive. Out of which the Italian woman, along with her husband, who was quarantined in the Savai Man Singh hospital, now she is showing signs of improvement, but still she is under observation, though her husband, one more sample has come out to be positive, so he continues to be under critical condition. But as far as the other gentleman who came from the Middle East, his wife and son, they came by SpiceJet flight. They have their samples are negative, so it's some kind of relief. And at the same time, the Rajasthan authorities have been able to track 35 passengers who had traveled along with them in SpiceJet flight, and they are also being screened. There are also other passengers which the authorities are trying to reach. Meanwhile, a fresh advisory has come from Rajasthan government, and making that makes it mandatory for all private hospitals to have OPD and isolation wards. Now, this advisory is for the hospitals that are of 100-odd beds.
Okay, 100-odd beds there. All preparations being done to keep the COVID virus or the COVID patients that or the travelers, Indian travelers that are coming from abroad there in safe conditions. Thank you and appreciate your joining us, Vishal Baristo, with those inputs there from Jaipur. Moving ahead.
Well, famous sand artist Doordarshan created another message on COVID-19 on the beach at Puri in Odisha. The message says, "Let's play our role. Do not panic. #COVID-19. The art also gives a message of frequently washing hands.
Well, moving now to the global outlook and the global fallout of COVID-19, China's coronavirus epidemic has passed its peak. Its top health commission said that only 8 new infections were logged in Hubei province, the first time the epicenter of the outbreak recorded a daily tally of less than 10. While the virus is spreading quickly globally, its progress in China has slowed down markedly in the past 7 days, a result of strict measures imposed to control the movement of people and traffic. With the marked slowdown of the spread of the virus, more businesses have reopened, with authorities cautiously easing strict containment measures. Hubei province, where the coronavirus emerged late last year, announced on Thursday a further loosening of travel restrictions and will also allow some industries to resume production in 2 of its cities and 2 countries.
And Italy entered its 3rd day of lockdown to stem Europe's worst outbreak of the virus. For at least the next 3 weeks, anyone traveling in Italy will have to carry a document declaring their reasons. Outdoor events, including sports events, have been suspended and schools and universities are all shut. The measures are some of the most severe controls imposed on a Western country since the Second World War. Italy now has over 12,000 confirmed cases and 827 deaths, second only to China.
In Iran, shopkeepers witnessed a huge decline in trade due to the spread of COVID-19. Spike in the number of positive cases has damaged Iranian businesses, and it's bound to hit the non-oil exports after many neighboring countries and trade partners shut their borders. Iran's economy has been battered by US sanctions, and in addition, the virus has imposed an additional threat. As on Tuesday, Iran had reported 10,075 confirmed cases of the virus and 429 deaths. Meanwhile, Iran has asked the International Monetary Fund, that's the IMF, for emergency funding to help it fight the coronavirus outbreak.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie are in self-isolation after she came down with flu-like symptoms and was tested for the new coronavirus. Her symptoms have since subsided. The 48-year-old Liberal leader is exhibiting no symptoms and says he will continue to work from home until the results of his wife's test come in. The statement does not mention whether their 3 children are staying home as well. Canada is setting up a $728 million fund to help its provinces combat a worsening coronavirus outbreak and is prepared to spend more money if necessary. 91 people have been diagnosed there so far. 1 person has died.
The U.S. Capitol complex was closed for public after a staffer for the senator from Washington state tested positive for the new COVID-19. Limited access to the Capitol and office buildings will last until April 1st. Those with limited access include lawmakers, staffer, accredited journalists and visitors with official business. Tours of the White House were also suspended in wake of the outbreak. Over 1,300 confirmed cases of the virus have been reported in the United States, with 38 deaths so far.
US President Donald Trump is personally making the case for Namaste in the time of coronavirus, referring to his recent trip to India and relating how he and Ireland's Prime Minister Leo Varadkar greeted each other the Indian way when they met at the White House on Thursday.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey, officials rolled out a new state policy to try and contain the coronavirus outbreak. State's Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver said that all gatherings through New Jersey of more than 250 individuals will be cancelled. New Jersey stands at 29 confirmed cases till now with no new deaths. Neighboring state New York State too banned gatherings of more than 500 people from Friday. Also on Thursday, the state launched a coronavirus tracker that will allow residents to track the number of cases by county. Meanwhile, multi-billion-dollar tourism industry, Broadway theatres in Manhattan also were suspended and all shows until April 12th in order to curb the virus.
Further, Walt Disney Co. will close Disneyland and California Adventure theme parks in California starting tomorrow amid the global outbreak of the virus. No cases of COVID-19, the disease caused by novel coronavirus, have been reported at the parks, however.
Britain, meanwhile, likely has between 5,000 and 10,000 people infected with coronavirus as Prime Minister Boris Johnson stepped up the response to the outbreak. The chief scientific advisor said that a peak of coronavirus cases in Britain may still be 10 to 14 weeks away. The number of confirmed cases of coronavirus across the United Kingdom rose 29% to 590 over the past 24 hours. 10 people with coronavirus have died in the United Kingdom since the outbreak.
Brexit trade talks, scheduled to be held in London next week, have been cancelled due to concerns over the coronavirus outbreak. According to a joint EU-UK statement, both sides are currently exploring alternative ways to continue discussions, including, if possible, the use of video conferences. The talks were set to be held in the British capital from March 18th to the 20th. Nearly 100 European negotiators were due to travel to the UK from next Tuesday, where 590 cases of coronavirus were officially registered. Following the first round of negotiations in early March, the UK and the EU acknowledged major differences of opinion. Meanwhile, the European Commission has ordered non-essential staff to work from home starting on Monday. European schools in Brussels, where EU officials and diplomats send their children, have been shut until the end of the month.
Connor Reid, a 25-year-old British resident working in Wuhan, contracted the coronavirus in late 2019. Initially suffering from common cold-like symptoms, then a severe flu and ultimately pneumonia, which hospitalized him, was left struggling to breathe. Now fully recovered after a month of sickness and still living in Wuhan, where the epidemic first broke out, Reid has adopted to the new normal in the city, which has been under lockdown since late January.
Stuffy nose, sinus problems, coughing. It wasn't very serious. It was just quite uncomfortable. The flu, when I had the flu symptoms, that felt like I'd been hit by a truck. It was quite debilitating in regards to just generally feeling unwell. The lights were affecting me, sound. I just wanted to rest. It really wasn't great. However, it wasn't life-threatening. When I had pneumonia, that's the point where it was getting quite serious. It was, it felt like I could only use half my lung capacity. Every breath that I took wasn't enough, and I just couldn't get enough air. Also, it sounded like I was breathing through a paper bag. It sounded like there was just stuff in my lungs that just wouldn't go away.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said that the global outbreak of coronavirus is an extraordinary situation and termed it more extraordinary than the banking crisis. The German Chancellor expressed fear that Germany's economy would be hit hard as the numbers of the infected are rising sharply. She added that the government will present a very comprehensive package of additional measures to support businesses. She further added that for regions suffering a dynamic outbreak of the virus, the temporary closure of nurseries and schools will be done.
France will from next week close all creches, schools and universities to try and curb the spread of the coronavirus. Describing the outbreak as France's biggest public health crisis in a century, President Emmanuel Macron also urged employees to let staff work from home and said that the elderly and people with health conditions should stay indoors. He said, however, that municipal elections scheduled for this weekend should go ahead. He said that to ease the economic impact, the state would take over paying salaries of people forced to stop work and that businesses would not have to pay taxes that fall due in March. 2,900 people have been diagnosed so far. 61 people have died in France.
The Spanish Parliament's lower house suspended all activities for at least a week after lawmaker Javier Ortega Smith's party, Vox, disclosed he was diagnosed with coronavirus. Ortega Smith participated in a large-scale political rally last weekend with the presence of many of the party's other legislators. Meanwhile, Vox party has said all its parliamentarians would be working from home until further notice.
Brazilian President Bolsonaro's communications secretary Fabio has been diagnosed with coronavirus following a second confirmatory test. Fabio accompanied Bolsonaro on a recent trip to the United States and posted a photograph on Instagram standing next to Donald Trump. In the statement, the government also communicated with US authorities so that they can take precautionary steps. He is now in self-quarantine at home. The White House did not respond to repeated questions about the development, including whether the president and his senior staff are being tested for the virus and who, if anyone, is planning to self-quarantine, given their direct contact with someone who has now tested positive.
An Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday ordered more schools in the country closed as a precaution against coronavirus. He called for the formation of an emergency national unity government too. The latest measures follow a series of ever stricter restrictions imposed by Israel and the Palestinians. Netanyahu pledged another $1.65 billion to bolster the economy and the healthcare system as more and more people enter quarantine or get laid off. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Israel stands at 100 as of Thursday morning.
Turkey, meanwhile, shuts schools for 1 week and universities for 3 weeks from March 16th as a precautionary step to curb COVID-19. A week later, students will receive remote online teaching from March 23rd. Meanwhile, all sports events will be played without spectators until the end of April in response to the coronavirus outbreak. The move came after Turkey confirmed its first coronavirus infection on Wednesday. President Tayyip Erdogan's foreign visits and programs will also be postponed for some time due to the spread of the virus.
Argentina also joined the list of countries to cancel sporting and entertainment programs in an effort to stop the spread of coronavirus. The decision was part of a wave of measures taken by the municipal government, including restricting all activities of high concentration of people that are not essential for the normal operation of the city. Museums were temporarily shut while the Lollapalooza music festival was postponed. Argentina has so far registered 21 cases of coronavirus and 1 death.
Well, back home, Lok Sabha worked past midnight on Thursday to discuss the grants for the Railway Ministry for the year 2020-21. A record 99 MPs participated in the discussion. Union Railway Minister Piyush Goyal will reply today on the discussion.
जनरली रेलवे चर्चा जब होता है, रेलवे के विभाग के हम जो डिपार्टमेंट वाइज चर्चा करते हैं, रेलवे में बोलने वाला भी बहुत रहता है। और दूसरी बात है तो ये एडजर्नमेंट के कारण, गतिरोध के कारण जो एडजर्नमेंट हुआ 4-5 दिन तक, 6 दिन तक सदन जो नहीं चला, उसके कारण हम 4 या 5 विभागों का चर्चा रखा था, उसमें एक भी कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ। 6 में एक भी कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ है। इसलिए हम आज से रेलवे चालू किया है और 5 विभागों का चर्चा है, इसलिए थोड़ा रात देर तक बैठ के सब खत्म करना, सबको मौका देना, ये स्पीकर का भी उद्देश्य है और सरकार का भी उद्देश्य है।
A day after joining the BJP, former Congress leader Jyotiraditya Scindia reached Bhopal on Thursday to a rousing welcome by workers in his new party. Local BJP activists and leaders thronged the airport to greet him as soon as he stepped out of the airport. Scindia landed at Bhopal's Rajabodh Airport along with Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar after a grand roadshow that snaked through the streets of the city, and emotional Jyotiraditya Scindia also addressed party workers. Former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan praised him, hitting out at Kamal Nath government. Chauhan pledged to end the politics of injustice and corruption in the state. BJP will now send Scindia from Madhya Pradesh to the Rajya Sabha, and with this, he can also find a place in the Modi government cabinet. Scindia will file his nomination for the Rajya Sabha today.
Home Minister Amit Shah replied to the debate on the Delhi violence in Rajya Sabha. He said that none involved in the riots will be spared. Amit Shah asserted that those responsible for the recent riots in Delhi will be brought to book irrespective of their caste, religion and political affiliations.
The discussion on the recent violence in Delhi's northeast region finally played out in Rajya Sabha, with Union Home Minister Amit Shah replying to it. He asserted that those responsible for the recent riots in Delhi will be brought to book irrespective of their caste, religion and political affiliations.
700 से अधिक प्राथमिकी दर्ज करने का काम पुलिस ने समाप्त कर दिया है और बहुत तेजी से कार्यवाही मान्यवर की है। कुल हिरासत और गिरफ्तारी मिलकर 2647 लोगों को हिरासत में लिया गया और गिरफ्तार किया गया। मान्यवर, गिरफ्तारियां जो हो रही है वो बिल्कुल साइंटिफिक तरीके से एविडेंस के आधार पर हम कर रहे हैं।
Amit Shah informed the House that over 700 FIRs have been registered and more than 2,600 people arrested based on evidence, adding that 50 serious cases of murder, attacks on religious places, hospitals and educational institutions are being handed over to 3 SITs. He said that a detailed scrutiny of videos of the riots is being done and driving license, voter ID data are being used in facial identification software. Amit Shah assured the House that no Supreme Court guideline on privacy has been violated and no Aadhaar data has been used.
पुलिस को अधिकार होना चाहिए मान्यवर कि जिसने दंगा किया है इसको वैज्ञानिक तरीके से लेकर कोर्ट के सामने खड़ा करे और कठोर से कठोर सजा देने की। और मान्यवर, इसमें हमने सुप्रीम कोर्ट की कोई गाइडलाइन का भंग नहीं किया है। इसलिए मैं अब्राहम साहब को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि हमने कोई निजता का भंग नहीं किया है। कल तक 1170 चेहरे आइडेंटिफाई हो गए थे। आज सुबह अपराह्न 12 बजे तक लगभग 1922 चेहरे और व्यक्तियों को आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया गया है, जो सीधे दंगे की साइट पर दिख रहे हैं। दंगा करते हुए, लोगों का नुकसान करते हुए, लोगों को जलाते हुए, पथराव करते हुए या हत्या करते हुए।
During the discussion, while Congress MP Anand Sharma sought an impartial and thorough probe into the violence, INB Minister Prakash Javadekar said hate speeches made by opposition leaders led to the flare-up.
सीए पास होने के बाद रामलीला मैदान से आर पार की लड़ाई की बात हुई और जो नहीं विरोध करेगा, सड़क पर नहीं उतरेगा, कायर कहलाया जाएगा, ये भी कहा गया। वहां शाहीन बाग में शर्जिल इमाम जिन्ना वाली आजादी मांग रहे थे, यानी देश तोड़ने वाली आजादी मांग रहे थे। ये उकसावा नहीं था तो क्या था?
Meanwhile, Delhi police on Thursday asserted that the law and order situation in the national capital is normal now. Addressing a press conference, Delhi police said it has registered 712 FIRs and arrested over 200 accused in connection with last month's violence in northeast Delhi. With Neeraj Singh, DD India.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah also cleared the air on the NPR issue in Rajya Sabha on Thursday. He told the upper house that no documents will be sought for updating the National Population Register and that giving information is optional.
मैं स्पष्टता के साथ कहता हूं, एनपीआर में कोई डॉक्यूमेंट मांगा नहीं जाएगा। एक, दूसरा, जो इंफॉर्मेशन आपके पास नहीं है वो आप नहीं दे सकते हो। और तीसरा, कोई डीबी, मैं कह रहा हूं गृह मंत्री नाते राज्यसभा के पटल पर कह रहा हूं कि कोई डी लगने वाला नहीं। किसी को मेरी बात तो समझ लो, किसी को इस देश में किसी को एनपीआर की प्रक्रिया से डरने की जरूरत नहीं।
And moving on to some sports news. Star Indian shuttler PV Sindhu cruised into the quarter-finals of the All England Championships women's singles with a straight game win over Sung Ji-hyun of Korea in Birmingham on Thursday. The sixth-seeded Indian Olympic silver medalist won 21-19, 21-15 in a round of 16 match that lasted 49 minutes. Sindhu next meets the winner of the round of 16 match between fourth-seeded Nozomi Okuhara of Japan and Line Hoshmark Krisfeldt of Denmark. Rising shuttler Lakshya Sen, however, was knocked out of the tournament after losing in straight games to Victor Axelsen in the men's singles.
The Tokyo Olympic torch relay began in Olympia, Greece on Thursday at the traditional Olympic flame lighting ceremony held with limited attendance due to the coronavirus concerns. Thursday's ceremony in Greece was the first since 1984 to be held without spectators because of the ongoing concerns over coronavirus. The International Olympic Committee has insisted the Tokyo 2020 Games will go ahead as the Olympic torch was lit in ancient Olympia. IOC President Thomas Bach said organizers had outstanding support and cooperation on all levels of government. The Games are due to start on 24th of July. Bach told the small crowd of invited guests the IOC was happy with the measures being taken to avoid cancelling or postponing this summer's event in response to the global outbreak.
AIIMS Director Dr. Randeep Guleria has issued a video showing the proper way to wash hands to ensure coronavirus is at bay.
This is the area between your fingers, so you rub your soap between that, and then you have your nails, so you sort of rub your nails, the tip of your nails. What is left behind is your thumb, so then you use soap water or your hand sanitizer to clean your thumb, and then you take it all the way up to your wrist, so that up to your wrist every area gets covered. It's very important to do that because you may just do this and wash your hands, but you may have the virus staying between your fingers or at the back of your hand, and you have not cleaned that with the hand sanitizer and soap. So wash your hands properly.
Well, spooked by the coronavirus outbreak, stock markets is likely to take a tumble in today's training session as well. SGS Nifty indicating markets to open down by roughly more than 6%. If Sensex falls below 10%, that it touches 29,501 before 1 p.m. circuit will be introduced in the market. The aviation and hospitality stocks will be the worst hit, are likely to be the stocks that could take a beating today. And the markets, if you purely look at the international markets today, things have not been positive. If you are looking at an indication for what to expect in the Indian markets too, there is a bear hug all across the world when it comes to stock markets, and the same could be expected for the Indian markets.
And here's a look at the weather report in which we talk about the maximum and minimum temperatures from cities and towns across the country.
Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Breakfast Show. But before we leave you with a positive thought. Today's thought is this Friday, finish your work and be done. Look forward to the weekend and have some fun.
ये कोरोना वायरस को लेकर के बहुत चर्चा हो रही है, बहुत नुकसान हो रहा है, सब लोग घर आए हैं और घबराए हुए हैं, चिंता में हैं। आज सुबह सुबह हमको भी लगा कि हमें भी कुछ बोल देना चाहिए इस पर, तो ऐसे ही बैठे बैठे 4 पंक्तियां लिख दी हैं और सोचा कि आपको हम भेंट में दे दें और कहा सुना माफ़ कीजिएगा। तो हमने लिखा है कि बहुतेरे इलाज बतावें जन जनमानस सब, बहुतेरे इलाज बतावें जन जनमानस सब, केकर सुने केकर नाही कौन बताई सब। क्यों कहस कलौंजी पीसो क्यों आंवला रस, क्यों कहस कलौंजी पीसो क्यों आंवला रस, क्यों कहस घर में बैठो हिलो न ठस से मस। अब ईर कहन और बीर कहन कि ऐसा कुछ भी करो ना, ईर कहन और बीर कहन कि ऐसा कुछ भी करो ना, बिन साबुन के हाथ धोई के क्यों का भैया छुओ ना। हम कहा चलो हम कर देते हैं जैसन बोलें सब, हम कहा चलो हम कर देते हैं जैसन बोलें सब, आवे देव करोना फिरोना ठेंगवा दिखाओ तब। नमस्कार देवियों सज्जनों, नमस्कार। हम हैं अमिताभ।
Bye to all of you. Thank you for joining us and have a safe and wonderful weekend ahead.
Namaskar.